up here in the Boston office with Dave Carlson, and really looking forward to today's presentation. Thanks for joining us. Dave is our Executive Vice President of Development and runs the development crew, and they've really done an amazing job for 2010. We've got some really great stuff. So thanks for joining us, and Dave's going to show you quite a few of the things that you'll be seeing very shortly. So go ahead, Dave, and let her go.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to be going over Carlson 2010, which includes survey, civil, takeoff, and mining. All in all, there's about 400 noteworthy improvements in this release. We also have new CAD platform support. So we run on AutoCAD and MAP 2010. And I will be showing AutoCAD 2010 today. And we've also added support for 64-bit versions of AutoCAD 2009 and 2010. Just to clarify, you can still run a 32-bit application on a 64-bit computer. What this changes is allowing you to run Carlson within the 64-bit version of AutoCAD, which gives you a lot more memory access. We also have a new upgraded IntelliCAD engine to 6.6. Also, for Windows 7, we have a pre-release copy, and we've got Carlson 2010 up and running on that. Currently, Carlson 2010 is in beta, and we're wrapping that up and wrapping up documentation, and we expect the release to be in mid-October. Now I'm going to go over some feature highlights by module. First, I'll start with general ones, and then survey, civil, mining, construction, field, point clouds, and then we'll have questions at the end. So, okay, general improvements for 2010. Okay. There's a new Settings Explorer, which allows you to manage all the settings for all the commands in a single place. And it's organized by module in the tree view on the side here, and then by menu, and then command. And then the settings are shown here in the spreadsheet. And you have a brief description of what the setting is, what the current value is, and then what the default is, and the type of the setting. And you can use the default to get a report between comparing what your current settings are and how they've diverged from the defaults. You can restore defaults. You can also filter by layer and show only settings that pertain to layers. And you can save and recall the settings. There's a new Carlson Data Depot, which is a document management program that handles drawings and your project data files. One of the features is for work groups to share files between users. It tracks who has the file for edit. And another feature is for archiving. It's a way to keep a backup of your drawing and your data files in the repository. And it also keeps a history. And we support currently two types of repository servers. One is Subversion, which is an open source free revision control system. And we also have support for Bentley ProjectWise. Okay, and I'm going to show Data Depot here. So first I'll show where you set it up under Settings, Project Data Folders. You can come here and choose whether you want to use Data Depot and which server. And then under Setup, you tell it the server location, and then there's some options like automatic check-in of changes, things like that. And then you access the data depot through Project Explorer. You can see the status of files here. So if I right-click, this file is in edit mode and is red because it's changed. So I can say commit to data depot, and there it goes and puts it into data depot, and now it's blue. And this file is not in edit mode, it's read-only mode. So I can request going to edit mode, and it will give me edit mode if I have that capability. If it was checked out by another user, it would have told me. Okay. Okay. Next, there's a new draw item command, which is a tool for CAD standards. It creates standard CAD entities using predefined properties that you set up. So you can create lines and polylines, text blocks, leaders. You can create these entities individually or as a combination. So you can have an item that draws both a polyline and symbols, or leaders also at the same time. And with 2010, we're going to ship a national CAD standard database as a default that you can use. And you can also customize your own draw item table. Okay, let me show this. So draw item has a toolbar, and you just hover over it. And then you can pick from categories that have been set up here. So I can say, let's do a building. Say, I want to draw proposed. And then you can just start drawing. And it sets the right layer and all. And there it has an option to draw some text. I'll just press enter to get out. And I can just hover, pick again. I can pick from the list, or I can pick an entity I already have, and we'll pick up the properties for that. And I can just draw another one. Or I can choose a different one from the list. Say, let's go to Control and choose existing survey traverse. That. Notice the dialog automatically clears away once you've selected. And this one has a symbol associated with it. So after I pick my point, it asks me for rotation of a symbol. I can press enter, pick another point, symbol, enter, pick another point. And when I'm done, press enter. Now I can label text, and there's a bunch of different options for how you enter the text. I'll just type in a string. I'll pick a point, and then pick a rotation. And now it has an option for a leader. I'm not going to do the leader. I can do another text, but I can just enter out. So that's all set up in the draw item database. It draws multiple entities, symbols, lines, text at the same time. And if I go under inquiry and do layer ID, I can pick on that, and that's on V control text, and that's on V control trav. Okay. Okay. Next one is a new layout manager, which allows you to organize the plot sequence of multiple layouts. And you can also, it also has properties, like standard properties like name and page number, but you can also have custom properties, county or other things you want to associate with the layouts. Then there's also a new command called field text, which creates dynamic text that is associated with the drawing or project properties. And the properties in Layout Manager are one of the set of properties that are available for field text. For example, the sheet number. So you can draw a field text, which is text that will be the sheet number, and then it is associated with the layout so that if the layout changes, the text automatically updates. Okay. Several commands now support reporting directly to PDF. This is in addition to DWF, which we had before. But it's just a quick and easy way to do reports. Let me show one of these. For example, here, and I'll do the 3D viewer window. Okay. And then here, shade it. And then there's this new print button right here. So I just hit print. It will ask me what size paper I want, whether I want a border or a title block, and I'll just say OK. And there I have a PDF. Okay. Now on to survey. Okay, probably the biggest change is that Carlson Survey and C&G Survey are now merged into the same survey module. So the survey module includes both the Carlson commands and the C&G commands. Let me just go show this. So right here, I am currently in the survey module, and there's C&G Survey right here. And you have each of the pull-down menus for CG Survey. And there's three different menu modes for CG Survey. This is called the compact mode, so it puts them all into one pull-down menu. But you can also switch to the full CG menu mode, and it tells you how to switch back. And so this is the menu mode that C&G users are more familiar with, where there's a separate pull-down for each of the C&G command sets. Okay. I'm actually going to switch back. So I can go Settings, Configure, Survey, and go to Compact again. Okay. Okay, multiple Backsight targets. This is in Edit Process Raw File. There's a new option that allows you to take multiple Backsight observations for an occupation. And the program will compute the least squares orientation for the instrument. So, a couple of the advantages are you can get a better orientation with multiple measurements versus a single Backsight measurement. And it also will detect any blunders. So if you backsight a point and you have your target coordinates for it, but it's the wrong point or something, when you do multiple backsight targets, it would pick up that one of them is not correct. And it also handles either a full measurement or a partial measurement. So, for example, you might have a distance-only reading or an angle-only reading, and it will take that also. So if you have, say, a church steeple or a tower that you can see, you could, and you know the coordinates for it, you can backsight that and take an angle-only reading and include that with your backsight orientation. And then you get a report. The program also will calculate, when it has enough information, your occupied point and compare that with what you told the program the occupied point was, and it will then do a comparison and give you the deltas and the standard deviations. Then in this case, we had 4 different Backsight target points, and we took a direct and reverse reading for each one, and it gives us the residuals on those readings. And this will also be a feature in the upcoming CERCE 2.5. Okay, Field to Finish has a new interface, which I'll show you in a moment. There's also more controls for drawing the attributes as text. There's more line type controls, support for more line types. There's a new substitution code. So if you have a code that you want to type in the field, but you want to translate it into a different code in the office, that's an option. We added support for SDMS coding style, and there are 5 different methods of connecting line work. And there's 6 new special codes, prefix description, prefix code, join nearest, toggling curves on and off, gap to skip a connection in a line, and flip line work. For example, for like a tree line, and you want the bubbles to face one way versus the other, you can use that. So let me just show Field to Finish here. And let's go to Edit Codes. Okay, so in the new interface here, you have a list of your categories, and you can just easily switch what you see here in this new spreadsheet editor. You can also control what fields you want to see in the spreadsheet editor. So say I don't want to see category, I want to see entity type and layer and these others. And you can edit right in here. So I can type SPT10. You can also do copy, paste. I know a lot of people were exporting their code tables to Excel to do some editing, but now you have the spreadsheet right here in the program. Okay. Annotation. We've added some new rules that you can use. One is for line work that's in series, like the top row here. So a series of lines that all have the same bearing. You can have the program label the bearing only once. And for distances, you can label the total distance. And for line work that's in parallel, you can have it label only on the outside. And we've added a lot more controls for bearing distance and curve label styles. Okay. Legal descriptions has some new features. You can now process multiple polylines at the same time. So when you pick boundary polyline, there's an option to select multiple polylines. There's also a new method to pick interior. So you can pick inside a lot, and the program will figure the boundary around it and use that. You can also create lot descriptions from lot files. So lot files where you have your list of point numbers and that reference the coordinate file, and you can run that routine and create a legal description. And there's also a few more settings and controls in there too. Okay, on to Carlson Civil. Okay, for road networks, we have a new L intersection option, which is shown down here, where you can kind of create that almost knuckle there. And we also added support for linking the T intersections. So when the main road moves, The secondary road will either trim or extend to stay connected as a T. There's a new output option for template point profiles. So you can choose any grade point in the template and output a profile for it. And it will pick up any of the transitions that are going on in the road, as well as it will pick up any intersections and write that out to the template profile. For example, back a curb or something. There's a new ability to connect roads or driveways to the bulb of a cul-de-sac. These are just additional roads you can add. And there's also an option for topsoil removal and many more. Let me show a couple of these. This RoadNet. So this road along the bottom here, that's road A. That's one across the top is B. The one going through the middle is C. And the one on the end is D. So if we look for the intersection of A and C, that's a T intersection here. And if I edit that, there's this option here, link secondary center line for T intersection. Okay. Now with that linked, I can, when I edit A, and say go to edit the center line, and say I go to curve, edit that, and let's change the delta angle to 85. Say OK. Save and exit, and OK. And it says, you can see that my center line has changed here. It hasn't updated yet. It says, do I want to run the road process? I say yes. And there, the road C extended out to keep the T intersection going. And then, in case of the L intersection is here. These are two separate roads, and that just creates an L. If we go and edit that intersection, if I go to the outside part of that intersection, the back right in this case, there's this new option here that says use knuckle. And you can put in the main radius and then the fillet radius and say OK, and save and process, and it puts it in. Okay, draw profile. This command has probably had more updates than any other single command. Lots of new controls. There's a new option to output plan and profile sheets to a separate drawing, such as like labeling breakpoint depths. So you can have when you draw more than one profile, you can label the depth referencing the other. Option to label slopes, added support for station equations, and just lots more label settings for roads, pipes, and crossings. Draw section had a lot of upgrades also. Again, had an option to output to an external drawing. Added support for pipe crossings on the fly, so you don't have to create a crossings section file before running this command. Added a horizontal label box, similar to what Draw Profile has, and just a lot more label controls. Okay. There's a new template grade table, which is, I think, the fifth different way you can do a template transition in the roads program now. The template grade table is a lookup table of slopes and/or distance transitions at different stations. And there's a separate table for each grade ID in the template. This allows you to independently control each grade ID. Compared to the old template transition, well, which that routine is still here, but the former transition routine, you would have to define the full template at every transition station. So if you had left and right side changing at different stations, every time either side changed, you'd have to put in the full template. This one lets you just deal with one grade ID at a time. So this command is really a simple way to handle very complex transitions. Some upgrades to design template. One is that the grades can be parabolic. We also added the option to force a cut in a fill or force a fill in a cut. You can set a max depth where it will do that force cut or force fill. And this applies for roads that have a steep cross slope where the pivot point is just slightly in fill, but if you just punched out a little further, you actually would reach cut. And you can do that. Added an option for benches in fill, and several new curb slope controls, like defining the break point on the bottom of the curve, and you can have a lookup table for the curb slopes as the road transitions through super. Okay.
I'm going to do questions when you get to the end of civil.
Okay. For input edit profile, just one actually kind of simple change, but frequently requested was we've added undo. A few other updates like controls on the graphic display for the grid interval. But just wanted to point out that undo is in input edit profile and in input edit road also. Label station offset has some upgrades. One is to use the road network as an elevation reference. So this gets the exact elevation off of the road design instead of using, say, a triangulation file, which can have an effect, say, on a curb. As you go around a curve, the tin is going to have segmented chords as it goes around the curve. But by using the road network, you'll actually get the true curve projection from the road design. Some new label alignment options, like for vertical, and we added some more fields for the available for labeling for the point number, northing and easting, and we added the option to label the stationing as a 3D slope distance. Okay. We've greatly improved our linkage to HydroCAD with this release. We have a new HydroNet Explorer, which is a single place in a doc dialog on the left where you can manage all the connected drainage elements. That includes the subcatchment or the watershed, the pond, the reach or the channels, and links to any input hydrograph. You can use the link to add in the storm sewer network into the HydroNet. Before, without this command, you'd have to navigate the individual commands under the watershed pull down. So this brings it all together, and it puts the data in a format that HydroCAD can read. Okay. And related to this, for generating the sub-areas within a catchment, we now have 3 levels of topology overlay here. There's the drainage area, ground cover or curve number, and the soil group. And this is all done by layer. So let me show this. Okay. Switch to hydrology and to define watershed layers. So first we have our ground cover layers. I've got buildings, driveways, trees, and roads. Some others I'm not using right now. Then we have a new layer for the soil line work and the soil labels. The soil labels is where it will pick up whether it's group A, B, C, or D. And also new is watershed layer. So you can actually build a topology of a watershed. And I'm just going to do hatch all here. This deals with the ground covers. So you can see I got the building pads and the driveways and the road and the woods all on different layers. And go to the HydroNet Explorer here. Okay, so I have, say, 3 subcatchments. And I'm going to do edit here. If I go to area, I just have like one overall area right now, but I can do this select subcatchment. Now it's picked up that my watershed layers. So it found a label on my watershed label layer that matched my current subcatchment name, and then it found the closing area around it and says, is this what I want? Okay, say yes. And then it goes out and calculates each of the different ground covers and gets the soil group. Okay. 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 Gary says we have some questions we want to answer before we move on to mining.
Yeah, can we do that just while we're on the topic of civil, Dave? We've got about a good half a dozen that I'd like you to address. I've got most of them here. I'm going to start with the oldest one here. Is there an ability to prepare 3-line profiles, center line, top of curve left, and top of curve right?
Well, that is a new option in Road Network. So you can output top of curve left and right along with the main centerline profile.
Okay, good. In the current version, RoadNet automatically adds PVIs so that the horizontal and vertical alignments begin at the same station. Is there any way to keep it from doing this? Understand that?
Yeah, there's some options in Road Network for the PVI setback distance. I think if you set it to 0, you just won't get one.
Okay. And if you have more detailed, need some more follow-up on that, well, we'll have some ways to get in touch with us at the end here. Keep going. This one, let me read it. Will the version control database or databases be able to reside on network-attached storage devices?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Data depot can work over a network.
Good, thank you. Some agencies ask for a tangent between fillet and main radius of a knuckle. Can that be done in RoadNet?
Nope, did not get that one. That's not in there yet.
Okay. Fine, good suggestion. We'll see what we can do soon. A comment to make it label centerline intersections.
Actually, there are some new features on that. I'm not in this presentation, but that's one of the new features of Road Network is you can have it output the intersection information, and it actually can get labeled and draw a profile.
Okay. Can Civil 10 RoadNet allow for intersections that are not perpendicular T, like a Y, like a merging lane or an on-ramp?
Yeah, they don't need to be perpendicular.
If it's too small, maybe.
Yeah, you can edit the radius of the curb return. You probably need to put something pretty tight in on those cases.
If you have a data set that's not working, get in touch with us. Can you now update a profile on a plan and profile sheet, or do you still have to redraw the sheet?
The profile editing is still done within Input Edit Profile. So from the sheet, you can double-click on the profile line, bring up the editor, make your changes, and then it redraws. We don't have editing on the sheet yet.
Okay. Will you be able to import a PDF cross-section file to create a template? You could bring one in and kind of draw over it, but
no,
not really.
We don't have any automatic template creation.
Okay. Does Pad Template Editor or Centerline Editor have undo buttons?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. We'll have to check on that one. Can 2010 run on a 64-bit operating system?
Yes.
Yes. Has the force cut and fill feature now included in RoadNet been added to design pad template?
I don't think so. Good idea, though.
Okay. We got a cool from somebody as an answer to something. I lost track, Steve, but thanks. Are the bearing and distance labels dynamic, such as if you revise the entity, the labels revise as such?
Yes. Annotation labels can be dynamic. That's an option you can turn on or off.
Does AutoCAD come with the Carlson program? Of course,
no. AutoCAD sold separately.
Sold separately. Are there any new features related to surfaces or tins?
A few. Yeah, new label options, contour label options, and a few other things. There's a new simplify routine. There's a few other.
We've got a list of all of them that we can distribute at this point. Are we?
Well, when it's released.
Yeah. So within the time frame of the release, we'll have a full list of everything. So there'll be some things on there. I'll just keep going until we get through the civil stuff. During RoadNet processing, many 3D polylines are created. Will they be created as on easily identified layers?
Yeah, RoadNet has an option when you go to Output tab, and there's a little Layers button, and you can do a prefix by grade ID. So then your edge of pavement will be on the EP layer, EP-roadwork or whatever.
Okay. Editing storm sewers in the profile is the same idea. You got to edit that stuff in the editor or in the HydroNet editor. But
yeah, we want to do more profile editing for sewer networks. Did not really get far on that with this release, so next time.
Okay. Almost through these, Dave. I'll let you get back. Was there a super elevation profile included in this release?
There is a new command to draw a super elevation diagram.
Good. Can you specify the elevation on benching in template benches? Specify the elevation.
Yes, you can. You can actually use a surface model as your bench target. So the surface model could be a fixed elevation, or it could, have a slope to it. Whatever you put into your bench surface model, then the benches will hit that.
A follow-up to that, just can we design the road based on super elevation diagrams? I don't understand that completely.
Well, there's this, define super elevation command where it's not entered by like a diagram method, but actually the template grade table that I showed is a way that you could fairly easily do super elevation. You would just look up on the diagram each transition point and then put that into the grade table.
Okay, thanks. That's all the ones on civil. I just wanted to do those while it was still fresh, so thank you.
Okay. Okay, long awaited for triangulation surfaces for mining. So there's now an option to use a tin for the ground surface, which allows you to pick up topo features like benches. The strata models are still grids, but by using a tin, you can have strata models that are less dense, because they're just modeling the strata, and then have your full resolution in your ground model by using a tin. And this applies to surface mine reserves and fence diagram. And also for surface mine reserves, you can use a tin for the bottom of the pit. Okay, with fence diagrams, a couple new things. One is you can tag polylines as fence alignment polylines and give them a name. And then when you run fence diagram, you can select multiple of these fence polylines and create multiple diagrams all at the same time. And you can also now do a real-time fence diagram where you simply pick 2 points on the screen, pull as a fence diagram, and then you can adjust the alignment. So let me show this. Okay, go to geology, fence. Okay, so here's the new option right here. Process multiple named fence polylines. Say OK. I give it my pre-calc model, pick my polylines, and then pick where I want to draw them, and do both of them. So this one is called east to west. This one is called south to north. So you can process multiple, and it's a lot easier to select because it will only pick up tagged fence polylines. And for the real-time fence diagram, I can pick a polyline, or I can just screen pick. Okay, and there's my fence diagram, and it shows you in plan view where, as you move around, where you are on the profile. I can do this adjust alignment, pick the middle, and just move the whole line over, and I get a real time. It does not crop the strata, as you notice. It just draws the strata polylines and the surface all at once. And you can also do adjust alignment, pick the endpoint, and then kind of pivot around the other point. Okay. Okay. For underground, there's a new routine to draw room and pillar in 3D using models for the roof, the floor, and the thickness. And then once it's drawn in 3D in the drawing, you can use the 3D viewer window or the surface flyover routine to drive around the 3D mine. Okay, construction. Okay, graphic reports. These are really quick and easy ways to create a report directly to PDF or DWF, and you don't have to deal with setting up a CAD plotter or setting up a layout. You can just skip those steps. So let me show that. Okay, switch to Takeoff. Tools, graphic reports. Okay, first it's just plan view. You just say what paper size you want and whether you want a title block. You say OK. And there you go. There's your PDF of your plan. Okay. Next one, surface. Okay, let's show original ground on a grid size 10. Say OK. Okay, there it is. Do print. I zoomed in a little bit and I hit print. Well, let's give it some vertical exaggeration. Say 5:1. Print. Select my paper size. Again, title block options. And there it is. Let's do that again. This time we're going to do the design surface, triangulation, and say OK. Shade it, zoom in, and then I could just print again. Okay. Next is, say, profile. Let's pull a profile across our building here. Let's show original ground and final target and just go print, paper size. There you go. And then my favorite one, cross sections. Making cross sections into one command here. Okay, I want to go from the bottom to the top of my site. I say okay. I want design and original ground every 50 feet. Okay, that's my paper size I want to use. I want 3 rows of sections per sheet and 2 columns. Say okay. I'm going to include the plan view in my plot. Okay. And now you got a PDF with multiple pages. So the first page is the plan view showing our cross-section lines, where they are, plan view, and then you just get the cross-sections. Okay. Okay, sections from Polylines. Okay, so imagine you got this DWG with 130 section sheets with 8 sheets, or 8 stations per sheet. Now you want to bring that into a road model. Okay, so this command can save you hours of time. It basically works by layer. You just pick the layer of the station labels, you pick the layer of the section surface, and then you window the whole thing, and it makes section files. Okay, PDF import. So when your PDF contains vectors, we can bring this right into the drawing now. If your PDF is just a container for an image file, then it's still a process of doing raster to vector. But let me show an example. Okay, so here's a PDF file of a site, and I'll come in here, go under Tools, Import, PDF, use my file. Okay, and thinks for a minute here. Okay, ask me a point to place it, rotation angle, and scale. I'm not going to scale it here. I'll use some bar scale or something on it to scale by just the regular CAD scale command after I insert it. Okay. So there it is. This is not an image. This is actually line work, polylines and such. Okay.
When you get to a good pause, let me
know. Well, I think I'll plow through to the end.
Okay.
Okay. We have a new module for Carlson 2010, which is construction. It has earthworks, roading, drill holes, machine control data prep, survey stakeout, survey as-built mapping. But it is not an estimating program. It's not for takeoff. So it does not have material quantities. Okay. Carlson Field is now sharing drivers with SURCE. So Field now benefits from all the driver work being done in SURCE. There are many new GPS drivers. There's support for RTK networks such as NTRIP. There's also a new resection command that does direct and reverse, and you can have this ability to store your instrument settings and then recall them. That's been done. Okay, and then point clouds. We have a new engine that handles 1 billion points in the cloud, and we can also import more formats, including Leica, Topcon, Faro, LAS, and DEM. Okay, thanks for listening.
Okay.
Questions?
Good job, Dave. Thanks a lot. A lot of exciting stuff there. And that's just the beginning.
Yeah, just the next step.
There's more.
Yeah.
But that was a great introduction to a lot of the really exciting stuff. So let me try and get through some more questions, if I could, with you. I'm going to work backwards this time from the newest one. Is PDF import available in Civil 2010, not the suite?
No, it's only available in the Takeoff module and the Construction module.
Okay. Does Takeoff 2010 include the Construction module?
No, but Takeoff is generally more powerful than Construction module.
Okay. Did you say PDF import has actual line work in it?
Yes, when the PDF is vectorized, then we bring it into the drawing as actual polylines and such.
Okay. Have there been any changes to design bench pit command, mine pit 2, other than adding tins as a usable surface?
No.
Okay. Does the PDF import convert a scanned PDF to vectors?
No, but we have a separate raster to vector command. You actually have two options. One, you can just insert the image into the drawing and then kind of on-screen digitize, or you can use our raster to vector command.
Okay. Does the PDF import detect dashed line types and make them one line?
Not yet.
Okay. How common is it to get a vectorized PDF? Do you?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is. If you can follow up with us, we'll have some emails posted in it shortly. Is there a way to digitize road cross sections for volumes?
Yes, we've had that for a long time. It's in Takeoff for sure. I think it's in Civil also.
Okay. All right, I'm going to jump back to the beginning. Can you export alignment files into a geodometer?
I have to check on that.
Okay.
I think so.
When you showed the strata,
Yeah.
there were a couple of questions. Why does the strata come out of the existing ground when you move the polyline?
That real-time fence diagram does not do the clipping.
Okay. Does Quick Fence crop the strata when you select the draw option?
Yeah, it does not crop.
Same.
The Quick Fence does not crop.
Okay. If we were to scan the inside of a mine, could the scan points be loaded to a Carlson and manipulated to create a drive-through or walk-through viewing type of file? Point cloud.
Yeah, it'd probably be a few steps, but you could use point clouds, which will output a triangulation file, and then bring that triangulation file into the drawing that you could drive through then.
Okay. Are there any changes to the scheduling timing component of the mining module?
A few. Let's see.
Okay, check on that one.
Yeah, there's been some improvements to the 3D pick command, and it has like a graphic chart feedback and such.
Okay, is the cross-section command in Takeoff available with other modules, I'm thinking is what he meant.
Well, that new feature of importing the drawn sections in the drawing into a section file, that's only in Takeoff.
Okay. How large of a point cloud will Carlson now handle, and can the cloud be segmented with Carlson?
Yeah, it can handle like a billion points now, and you can make a selection set of any part of it and save it out as a separate cloud.
Do we have a price for construction yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, still working on that. When you export to a PDF file, which type of PDF is created, raster or vector?
It depends on the command. Some of them are vector and some of them are raster.
Okay. Can the PDF import and raster to vector import be included in other modules? Just reading the questions.
Yeah.
We'll take it under consideration.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any new aspects to the HEC-RAS interface for colorizing, rendering, velocity, and depth outputs?
Nope.
Okay. Is the text imported by PDF import actual editable text?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Comes in as line work, actually.
Okay. Can you use field-to-finish line types when drawing a regular polyline?
Not while it's getting drawn. So it's either through field to finish or draw. Well, actually, many of the line types will define, a line type in the drawing, which then you could, by layer, you could set the layer to a certain line type, and then you would get it as you drew.
Okay. Okay, we still got a few more minutes. We'll try, just keep. Thanks for all the questions. They're great. We'll go we'll get as many as we can here. Does Survey 2010 use CNG data collector transfer routines when in CNG?
Yes, the CNG data collection routine is there.
Okay. Does Civil have the ability to do fence diagrams?
No.
Is Carlson CE compatible with the Trimble total station and GPS?
Well, yeah, for most models, not every model of Trimble, but a lot of them.
Okay. Back to RoadNet. Layers created have cryptic names. Break line, curb tooth. Can they be modified to state break line, curb top, curb back, and based on the curb template designer? That makes sense.
Well, in design template, you can give a name to your curb. Now, I'm pretty sure it will pick up on that name when it goes and uses the option to use the template ID for the layer name. But
okay.
Yeah, I think that any curb will have multiple breakpoints, and it just calls them 1, 2, 3 with the appended onto the curb name. Yeah, we might have to add something more controls there.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'm trying to think of what we should do here. I think what we're going to have to do, because our time is up for today, is you've got Dave's address is showing on the screen. He's a busy guy, but he is very willing to put his email address up there. So you can get in touch with Dave with further questions. Again, I'm Gary Rosen. My email is grosen, G-R-O-S-E-N, at Carlson SW. And you can email me, and I will answer or get your questions to the right people. You can also, of course, contact our support team, is support at Carlson SW. And hopefully most of you know who your regional salespeople are. If you don't, let me know. I can put you in touch with the right person. We will answer all questions and all interests that everybody has as we keep going forward. We've got a Go Bo Sox just came in, so I wanted to announce that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate your time. Lots of great questions, and if we didn't get to your question, I apologize, but please just just type it up in an email and get it to myself or Dave, and we will get them all answered. And other than that, Dave, I guess we're looking, are we talking about time frame?
Mid-October.
Mid-October.
Month from now.
About a month from now, we should be ready. The number of questions about maintenance. If you're on maintenance, you will be receiving that. You can also contact your sales representative when it's released. If you need to get it sooner, we can try and get you a serial number. We kind of work through our maintenance list alphabetically, so let us know. But if you're not on maintenance and you've got an older version, again, contact your local sales person, a Carlson person, or get in touch with myself. I can get you to the right person, and we can get you on maintenance so that you can get the new release. If you have standalone product survey, the standalone survey will be out later this year on 2010, but that's a little ways off. We got to get this one done first. And any other questions, just get in touch with myself or Dave or tech support or your local salesperson, regional person, and we will try and answer everything that we possibly can. Thanks for your time.